On people, we are Tottenham TV back here for some more content for you guys, and we're going to be focusing on our players out on loan, and there is quite a few of them, so we're going to catch up on them, see how they have been getting on for their respective clubs in the early part of the season. There's 9 players we're going to get through, so we got Manor, Solomon, Ashley Phillips, Alejo, Veliz, Dane, Scarlett, Alfie, Devine, Luka, Vuskovic, George, Abbott, Jamie, Donley and Josh Keeley as well. There are players like who are officially on loan like Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Brian Hill, which I thought we're not going to see them in a Spurs shirt again, so what is the point? But
well, Brian Hill's only an option, right?
He is only an option, but
see him.
Yeah,
see him. I know Højbjerg is an obligation.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But can you really see Brian? I mean, to be fair, can you really see Manor Solomon coming back as well? But I think there's more chance of Manor coming back than a Brian Hill. But look, it's fair to say that it has been a bit of an up and down from our various loan spells. And we'll start off with Manor Solomon. He's had 2 starts in a Leeds shirt so far against Hull and Burnley, grabbed an assist on his first game. Since then, he has suffered another injury. He's got a back problem. He's got a minor back problem. He is expected to be back for the next game, so it's not detrimental, but he did miss the last game out through injury. Ali Gold says that after a bright start to life at Leeds with 2 bright performances with 1 assist, the 25-year-old did miss their match against Cardiff at the weekend with a back problem. The Israel international will be hoping to be back in contention for as many games as possible next week as Leeds host Coventry, travel to Norwich and Sunderland, all in the space of 6 days in the Championship. So he's had a fairly good start to his life at Leeds.
From what I understand as well, the defeat, they lost to Burnley 1-0 at home. And Burnley scored a 90th minute winner. It came from a Solomon mistake.
Oh, is that right?
From what I understand. I think I saw it. He was basically caught like dribbling the ball in the middle of the park. They pounced on it, and they went up the other end and scored. I was actually watching what was that Leeds fan account? I can't remember what it's called. One Leeds. We've done some collabs with them. Anyway, they were doing a video saying that they think they should be dropping Solomon at the moment, not because he's not playing well, but because they don't feel like he looks the sharpest that he could. And they got a lot of quicker players in the way that Daniel Farke likes to play. He likes his wingers to be explosive into space, and there has to be a conversation potentially about dropping Manor Solomon at the moment. But look, he's come back from a serious injury. We've said that in pre-season. He didn't look his sharpest. We were quite critical of what we saw from him in pre-season. But it's going to take time for him to get to his sharpest, and that's probably why Tottenham have sent him out on loan instead of keeping him around, because it's we heard reports that he's just lacking that sharpness at the moment, that explosiveness he had before the injury. So it's no surprise we're still in September, and he's looks like he might be suffering a bit from it.
And look, only games can get him as sharp as back to match fitness, and I think that's another reason why Spurs did let him go on loan, because they couldn't afford him the game time to get him back to kind of the match fitness and the sharpness that he does need. So hopefully he does continue to get that in a Leeds shirt. So don't listen to the fan channel, keep playing him is what I say. Let's move on. Let's talk about Ashley Phillips, another one who's had a bright start to life on his loan at Stoke. He's played his first 2 games. However, he was forced off early in the cup game against Fleetwood Town due to concussion, and he's missed the last game due to the concussion protocols. They've had a change in manager in the early stages of the season, and he wasn't able to play in the first game because of that. Ali Gold does say that, basically just confirming what I said, Ashley Phillips was unable to play part in Stoke first game of this in charge against Hull due to concussion. He took a full shot in the face in the Carabao Cup tie against Fleetwood Town and had to come off, so he was unable to take part in the 3-1 defeat at home to Hull. The Stoke conceding 3 times in quick succession in the second half. The 19-year-old has so far played 191 minutes across 3 games for Stoke and will be looking to increase that game time once he does return to action. So a bit of a stop-start life in his life at Stoke.
Yeah, from what I can see, though, he seems to be doing decent when he is on the pitch, but obviously, that doesn't help that he's been in and out of the team. So let's just hope the new manager rates him and plays him from the start. You've got to remember, he's still a very young centre-back. Championship is a very unforgiving league. So I know he did well at Plymouth, but, it's still going to be very difficult for him to play consistently in the amount of games they play. But From what I can see, it's quite encouraging when he is on the pitch that he seems to be putting in decent performances. So if he can add that consistency, and Ange mentioned him as one of the reasons, him and Vuskovic, why they haven't dipped into the market for a centre back. So that's good motivation for him, I would say.
Yeah, and I've always been impressed with Ashley Phillips whenever I've seen him play. Big, strong lad, looks like well beyond his years in terms of his physicality. So I have no doubt that he's going to do well at Stoke, but it's always frustrating, isn't it, when you go somewhere on loan and there's a change of manager, because just where you fit in the plans, you don't know if you're going to, straight away fit in those plans, but it's up to him to fight his way back in, I guess. Let's talk about Alejo Veliz, which is an interesting one. Alejo has started every game bar one for Espanyol. He did score a very clutch goal in the last minute for a 2-1 win against Rayo Vallecano. The game that he didn't start was the last game, which a 4-1 defeat to Real Madrid, which he actually did come on at half-time at 0-0, and straight away they actually took the lead with a Thibaut Courtois own goal. Ali Gold has done a bit of a assessment of the game against Real Madrid, and he says it was a tough day at the office for Alejo Veliz and Espanyol's 4-1 defeat to Real Madrid in La Liga on Saturday. The 20-year-old striker's run of 5 consecutive starts came to an end, but he was introduced at half-time at the score at 0-0. An own goal from Thibaut Courtois gave the visitors a shock lead at the Santiago Bernabeu, but goals from Dani Carvajal, Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe turned the game into a rout for the hosts. Veliz touched the ball just 14 times during the second half display, but did make one key pass and won 2 aerial duels during where he would have been given another big experience. The young Argentine will be looking to get back in the starting lineup on Thursday when the Espanyol host Villarreal, before a reunion with his old teammate and compatriot Giovanni Lo Celso at Real Betis on Sunday. But talking about the goal that he did score, first of all, it was a really nice touch, a really nice finish in the last minute, and you just saw the emotion just reap out from him. He went mad when they did score, and then he did an interview after the game where he was like borderline tears, just so emotional, and it was great to see him get on the score sheet.
Yeah, and it was a big clutch moment for Espanyol to win the game. I'm just looking at some of his stats so far in his 6 games, 5 starts. It says obviously only 1 goal, but he's averaging about 1.7 shots a game, just under a shot on target per 90. He's missed 3 big chances in his 5 starts. So you can look at it 2 ways. Obviously not clinical, but at least he's getting those opportunities, and if he starts taking those chances, he's getting in the positions. He's, in terms of like his ground duels, 2.3 a game, aerial duels 3.2. So he's getting involved in the duels, which we know he likes to. He's received 2 yellow cards in his 5 games as well, which we know Veliz that's what he likes to do. He likes to get involved in being very aggressive and closing down and all that kind of stuff. It's a very big year for Veliz, because with Richarlison's future very much up in the air right now, with his we don't know what's going on with him, his injuries, whatever. Next season, there's more than likely going to be a slot open to battle with Solanke, and if he has a really good year with Espanyol, he can put himself in that conversation. But if he has a similar year to, it's already gone better than last year, but if he doesn't really capitalise and push on this season, either we could end up selling him, or another loan spell, and then all of a sudden his future's up in the air. So it's a very important year. He seems to be looking to make the most of it in the early parts and trying to get involved and he got a goal. But yeah, it's a very big year for Veliz.
Yeah, it's positive as well. It seems as though they are trusting him as their first choice centre forward. 5 starts in a row.
From what I can see, they play 2 up front, so that helps.
And when he did, drop to the bench, the manager clearly felt the need for him, because they brought him on at half time. So I think that's positive that they are showing that trust in him. Someone who's not getting the trust, though, at the moment is Dane Scarlett at Oxford. He's suffered very limited game time so far for Oxford. Oxford have had a great start to the season, and it seems like the same old story for Dane Scarlett, where he's just got strikers ahead of him where he just can't get over that hurdle. And they've got Mark Harris, who started the season on fire for Oxford, getting quite a number of goals. So that means the only start that Dane Scarlett has had has been against Coventry in the Carabao Cup. Before this, the weekend just gone, he was limited just 1 minute in the league. He did come on for the final 23 minutes in their last league game, And as Ali Gold says, Dane got some much needed minutes to end a run of 3 championship matches spent watching from the bench from Oxford on Saturday. The 20-year-old striker got 22 minutes in the second half as the promoted side continued their run of away defeats at a 2-1 loss at Bristol. The Oxford Mail gave him a 6 in their player ratings, with a review saying didn't manage to impact the game from the bench. So it looks as though at this moment in time, like, a lot can change over a long season, but at this moment in time, doesn't seem like a good loan spell so far.
Seems to be if you just want your team to start doing well, you just get Dane Scarlett in, and all of a sudden, every time he goes on loan to a team, they start doing well, and he can't get in the team. It's a bit frustrating. Obviously, he was on loan at Ipswich last year, couldn't get a look in because they were flying, and all the players were doing well. And obviously, Oxford, they got a striker who's bagging the goals, got a lot of goals last season in League One, and it's clearly very difficult to displace him at the moment for a young striker who's, as much as there's a lot of hope for his potential, when you look at the minutes he's had, he's still not like you wanted him to have more minutes at this point on his loan spells. So it's very frustrating for Dane. I feel really bad for him. Obviously, we're still in September. You know, injuries can make an effect, and as well, maybe he makes a change of system. Maybe he starts playing 2 up top. You never know what happens in football. Things can change very quickly. You know, maybe he comes off the bench once and scores, and bam, he's in the first 11 for the next game, and it all changes. So he's just got to keep plugging away. But if it continues like this, I guess we've got to revisit in January again. A bit like last year, we had to revisit in January. So, which would be really frustrating. But look, it's very early on, so let's hope we can turn around for him.
If we do have to recall him for limited game time at Oxford, who had just been promoted to the Championship, I mean, does he go down to League One to try and find first team football to be a week in, week out starter? Like, what do we do?
I mean, going on loan to Oxford, on paper you would say, oh, you should be playing their promoted side, but as you say, they had a striker who's scoring lots of goals this season, scored lots of goals last season, so, and he's clearly a fan favourite, so it was never going to drop. They're never going to drop him, were they? So I don't know what the plan was when they signed him. Was it to play with him, or was it always just to be his backup? But clearly at the moment he's proving too difficult to get into. It doesn't mean other championship sides he can't get in, but this one at the moment it seemed very difficult. So I would still look at a championship team, but I think he's better off going to League One than coming back to Tottenham.
Because that's 2 in a row now. Well, it's early days, so I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but if it does carry on like this, that's 2 in a row, 2 clubs that have been promoted from League One and 2 teams that he couldn't get into, albeit that Ipswich did get promoted to the Premier League and back-to-back promotions, which I doubt Oxford will do this season. But look, let's hope that it does get better for him in the coming weeks. Let's talk about Alfie Devine and Luka Vuskovic up next, both on loan in Belgium at Westerlo. Alfie Devine has been involved in both games since his loan spell, and he got brought on at half-time for his debut, and since then he's started 90 minutes for the second. He's had a fairly good loan spell so far in the 1.5, 2 games that he has playing in the number 10 position for Westerlo. He has got the number 10 on his back, so that maybe it tells you, they have ambitions to really integrate him this season. He did have a game against Royal Antwerp last game, and they lost 2-1. And Toby Alderweireld scored the 2 goals that made them lose the game, funnily enough.
Yeah, which is... and apparently Vuskovic gave away the free kick, which allowed Alderweireld to score. But in terms of Devine, obviously the 2 games he had are against Anderlecht and Royal Antwerp, so not exactly easy games. Came on against Anderlecht, apparently made a good impact. And from what I saw in the game against Antwerp, apparently he won the penalty, which I can't don't know if it got them back in the game or if they equalised or whatever, but he won the penalty for Antwerp in that game. So really promising signs first 2 games that he's doing well against 2 of the best clubs in Belgium. Westerlo obviously looking to build a nice team together, but they're not the best team in Belgium, so it's going to be difficult for him, because he's going to have to be the best player in that team. But they're putting a lot of trust in him, gave him that number 10 shirt, and at the moment I was looking at the stats from his game against Antwerp and he looked like he played really well, so that's really encouraging.
in that game where he played 90 minutes, it's 36 touches, 1 key pass, 1 dribble, and 5 shots on the day, including being denied by the goalkeeper on a run, whilst also making 1 tackle and 1 interception on the day for Westerlo. Luka Vuskovic, on the other hand, he is a mainstay in that team, which is unbelievable. 2 goals already to his name in these early parts of the season. He's played every minute apart from 1 game where he came off at half time, and in that game where he actually come off at half time, he actually scored in that game. So I'm not sure, maybe he had a little knock or something, but Luka Vuskovic is receiving rave reviews week in, week out. Unbelievable.
Because he's still 17, is he? He's 17 at this point? 'Cause we signed him at like 15, didn't we?
Let's see how old he is.
Because you know how many he's been on 2 loan spells.
17, yeah.
He's still 17, and the goal he scored was against Anderlecht.
Yeah.
So this is no mean feat. This is no mugs. These are they a Champions League team or a Europa League team?
Anderlecht this year are in Europa League.
Europa League team. There's no mean feat to put in a performance at that age against them. Yeah. And he's not only putting in a good performance, he's scoring, and he's bullying. That he's being physically the equal of a lot of older, more mature players. I don't know if is Vertonghen still playing. Is it Vertonghen who played for Anderlecht?
Yeah, Vertonghen does play for Anderlecht.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was playing in that game. I don't know if he beat Vertonghen to the header, but I can just use my imagination and say he did. But but yeah, Vuskovic clearly doing a lot of good stuff for Westo, and that's like really
Vertonghen
encouraging.
He wasn't playing,
but that's really encouraging because this is a 17-year-old playing for a weaker team in Belgium, and yet he's not only just getting by and doing his job, he's thriving and doing really well, and that's really, really impressive. From what I can see, I was looking at his SofaScore average ratings. Let me see them again, because like he's every game he's pretty much getting 7s.
Yeah,
which is like 7.5, 7.5. Couple of 6s, then 7.1, 7.5 again, 7, and he obviously scored that goal against Anderlecht in a 2-2 draw. And that was obviously that's a really great result for him away from home as well. So that shows the character he has away from home. A tough game at Anderlecht, he's scoring a goal.
It's mad the trajectory he's actually on, because obviously he was making real big waves in the Croatian league, went to the Polish league and absolutely smashed it. Was one of the best players in that league at the age of 16. And now he's gone to Belgium. It's like it's not exactly the easiest league in the world. You know, it is like what you got to say, top 7 or 8 leagues in Europe. And at the age of 17, he's starting week in, week out against some really good players. So it'll be interesting to see if he carries on this trajectory for the rest of the season, where he goes next year. Does he go to another loan to an even better league, or does he come to Tottenham?
In fact, he scored 2 goals this season.
That's what I said, yeah.
Goal against Mechelen and a goal against Anderlecht.
Yeah.
So the one against Anderlecht, he didn't go off at half-time, played 90 minutes in that game. And brilliant. I'm just trying to look at some of his overall stats, like aerial duels won 85%, 3 a game. Duels won 67%. Like really impressive stats. Tackle per game, 1. Ball recoveries per game, nearly 4. Like he's doing some really good stuff here, and this guy is still so young. It's mental.
So very exciting for Luka Vuskovic, and exciting for Alfie Devine as well. I think there's more to come for Alfie Devine this season. George Abbott at Notts County. He started the last 3 games for Notts County after getting 10 minutes on his debut, and he has been mostly deployed as a central midfielder. And I think in one game he actually formed as part of a front 3 for Notts County, which was interesting. We know that George Abbott is very versatile, can play. It seems like he can play anywhere on the pitch, to be honest. And Ali Gold says George Abbott finally tasted defeat in the Notts County shirt as they lost 1-0 at home to Gillingham on Saturday, with a 19-year-old having won all of his 3 previous appearances for his Lone Star. The versatile Spurs under-21 skipper picked up a 3rd-minute yellow card, but it did not affect his performance as he played the full 90 minutes, touching the ball 46 times, making 1 key pass, taking 1 shot and making 1 clearance. And apparently he's getting some quite good reviews as well for Notts County.
Yeah, he seems to be doing decent. So it's going to be interesting to see where he nails down his position while he's there, because as you say, he likes to play a bit of everywhere, which can be a blessing and a curse. It means you're called upon a lot more to play, but also means a lot of the time you're kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none, and like you're not amazing in any position, but you're quite good in a few, which you can take it in 2 ways. But interested to see how he gets on, but it looks like he's doing well at the moment, so I'm happy for him.
And last but not least, we'll talk about the boys at Leyton Orient, Jamie Donley and Josh Keeley. Donley has been a key player for Orient. However, in the last game, he was off the bench, started in all league games prior to that, and he also started in their cup tie against Premier League side Brentford, which he actually put in a really good performance from what I hear. Josh Keeley, on the other hand, hasn't played a game apart from that game against Brentford, where he made 5 saves on the day, and another player who got quite rave reviews in the game where they did lose 3-1 to a Premier League side. Ali Gold says that Donley and Keeley both enjoyed good displays in the Brentford Carabao Cup game in a 3-1 defeat for 10-man Orient in midweek. Donley was a busy presence, took a few shots and was dangerous with set pieces. He had plenty of quick, clever, progressive passes against the Premier League team and embarked on a one eye-catching dribble early in the second half, as well as picking up a yellow card for an over-enthusiastic late challenge against Thomas Frank's side. Keeley made his debut for Orient in the Carabao Cup and got plenty of praise for his efforts. The young goalkeeper also enjoyed a nice moment with his father after the final whistle in the stands. Both players were reduced to supporting roles, though, in the League One at the weekend as Orient make it back-to-back wins in the competition. Donley came on for the final minutes of normal time in a 4-1 win at Stockport, while there was no room even on the bench for Josh Keeley.
That's a shame. Oh, I saw that moment with him and his father, which it goes to show how much this means to them. Obviously, you think going on loan from Tottenham to a club like Leyton Orient and you'd think, oh, it's a step down. It's like, you haven't quite made it yet, but you can see how much it means to these young players and what an opportunity it is even to play at League One level, considering what I saw some of his saves he made against Brentford in that game. Brilliant saves. So it was a really touching moment for him after the game, even though they lost.
Did they play a second string, Brentford?
Brentford? I can't remember. I don't know if it was second string, it was definitely a weaker team, but I think Mbeumo still played, if I remember. From what I can see from Donley here in his stats, they don't really make for great reading, to be honest. Not many key passes, not many shots. Doesn't sound like he's getting too involved in the areas that we want him to be. So that needs to improve, and that's probably maybe why he's been put on the bench. But hopefully that can change soon, because I know he's got quality and he's shown glimpses, it seems, but needs to be consistently involved in the game, I would say.
Yeah, a friend of ours, Jake, who's a Leyton Orient fan, goes week in, week out to Leyton Orient. He literally just texts me as we're speaking now, and I asked him what he thinks about Jamie Donley so far, and he says, like the rest of the team, good individually, but yet to get into the system as of yet. He's been on the bench lately, but he looks really good technically with a really good football brain. So I think maybe just he needs to acclimatise a bit. It's going to take a bit of time, isn't it?
Of course, still only 19, so he's very young.
Yeah. But that is it. That's all we have for the loan report so far. I guess you got to say the guy who's having the best loan spell so far is probably Luka Vuskovic and Alejo Veliz. Like, I'm very impressed with Alejo going there and straight away being a starting striker.
I think the main thing for all these guys is to play. Obviously, still only September, so the fact they're getting into the teams early is good. The one obviously is very disappointing is Dane, who's probably seen the least minutes on that list. So when he starts playing, everyone out on loan will be getting minutes, so that's a positive. But I think it's quite encouraging for most our loanees at the moment, I would say.
Absolutely. So there you have it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below about our players on loan, what you want to see more of, what you want to hear more of. But yeah, that is it. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you